Casino ladder match. It's here. It's coming this Wednesday. And man, I think this has the opportunity to provide a real shakeup, much needed shakeup in the main event. However,
It's going to provide a boost.
it's going to give somebody a boost. But I do have one problem with it. And that is two of the participants. Again, I love Orange Cassidy. I really do. But get him and Matt Hardy out of this match. Can we?
I understand why Matt Hardy's been put in the match because of the reputation that he and Jeff Hardy developed. But I don't need to see Matt Hardy in a ladder match anymore. Heck, I don't even need to see him in a wrestling ring anymore.
I like seeing him in a wrestling ring. I do. But my issue is that AEW is supposed to be from a kayfabe standpoint, they're supposed to focus on wins and losses. Wins and losses are supposed to matter, but the Hardy family office has done nothing but lose. Why is he all of a sudden in a ladder match where if he wins, he gets a shot at the world title? That doesn't make any sense to me. At least Orange Cassidy has a great win-loss record. So from that standpoint, he does deserve to be in the match. But from a star power and main event standpoint, I don't think he should be in it. I think you should give that spot to somebody else like Miro or Malachi. Somebody like that who is on the cusp of being in the main event. You look at WWE, when they've done their Money in the Bank ladder match, they've traditionally and historically, they've put people who are they're right there on the cusp, and they just needed that extra little push to be in the main event spot. That's what we need to be doing here. You've got a couple people who are like Jon Moxley, who was in the main event, and now he's kind of in the wind. That's great. Put him in this because it gives it elevates the match a little bit. But I agree with the Lance Archer being in there. I think that's much needed. I'm gonna pull up the participants to get the exact. Let me see here.
All right.
We have. Where are you? This must be it right here. So we have so far. I never remember if it's Pac or Pac, but we have Pac, Andrade El Idolo, Jon Moxley, Lance Archer, Orange Cassidy, Matt Hardy, and of course the surprise Joker entrant. Pac, Andrade El Idolo, Jon Moxley, and Lance Archer are all excellent candidates for this match. But Orange Cassidy and Matt Hardy, I just can't get behind.
No. Well, it's like you said earlier, Orange Cassidy is more the comedy routine.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the matches are concerned, I just don't know why they're making that decision to have him as part of that match in the card.
I mean, just don't get it. And I'm sure that the spots he can do, somebody like Orange Cassidy can do in a ladder match is going to be fantastic. I could see maybe he puts his hands in his pockets and climbs the ladder with no hands, and then gets to the top and looks at the belt and realizes that he's not going to grab it because his hands are in his pockets, and maybe gets thrown off. Yeah, that's going to be a cool spot. It's going to be funny. I'll like it. I'll mark out for it and everything. But ultimately, I just don't. I think that it would just be better to have somebody who really could use the win from this match rather than to do that. Is the spot worth it?
It's not. In my humble opinion, it's not.
Yeah. And again, you guys, I'm an Orange Cassidy fan. I bought the t-shirt. I love the guy. I just, for this match, I'd like to see somebody else. Again, Miro, Malachi Black would be great. Even Christian Cage would be a better fit. I know he's got that injury, though, so maybe it might be too much for him to do.
It might be, but for nostalgia purposes, I can understand why you would go with it, because you'd want to see a part of the match where it's Christian Cage on the ladder, Matt Hardy on the ladder, and they're just going at it on top of the ladder.
That would be very nostalgic.
Give people, that feel of when it was the TLC matches in WWF, and when it was the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But how much is nostalgia is too much nostalgia?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know what I would have loved to even see is put Darby and MJF in that spot. You know, I mean, they've just started a program, so this would be a great opportunity to get them to kind of, you know, showcase a little bit about what they want to do, and then ultimately maybe have Darby be going up for it, and he looks over, he's like got his hands on the whatever it is that they grab. I don't know if it's like a poker chip or something, but whatever they grab in this, and he looks back and sees MJF like laid out on a table or something. Looks back up at the championship, or you know what I mean. Looks back up, coffin drop, gives up the opportunity to win the match to just inflict more pain on MJF, and then we can you know kind of keep building from there. And I think that would be better, honestly. And now that I talk about it, I'm mad at myself for even thinking about it because I'm not gonna get it.
I wouldn't be so mad, Quid Man. You never know. Something could happen before the match, and those two are inserted in the match.
It could. It very well could. Let's talk about the Joker. Who do you think the Joker could be?
Uh,
So some of the
I
common
don't know,
theories,
man. I really don't know.
some of the common theories going around right now are that the Joker could be either Bray Wyatt, which I don't think. I think Bray Wyatt needs to debut with the Dark Order. Um, so I hope it's not Bray Wyatt for that reason. Some people think it could be the return of Hangman Adam Page, and some people think it's going to be the debut of Leo Rush. What are your thoughts on those three?
Leo Rush.
You think?
I think it's gonna be his debut in that match.
I'm a little
Probably
iffy.
wrong.
I'm a little iffy
But
because if you're talking about the Joker, right? This is and the Joker in AEW is usually associated with a surprise debut.
mhm.
Leo Rush at this point is not a surprise because we've already seen the vignette. So I almost feel like it would be a little lackluster and I would be a little disappointed for it to be Leo Rush just because again, you know, we already know he's coming. But I have a personal thought that kind
Okay.
of contradicts that. So let's say it's not a surprise. It's somebody who we already know is either an AEW superstar or we already know they're coming. I think Miro is a possibility to be the Joker. And I think if Miro is the Joker, you have him win.
Yeah.
And then you run
Why not?
because his whole thing is the, you know, he talks to his god and his god is like this, it's different from anything else, but he's talking, you know, after the match, he posted a tweet that says that he was going to have a talk with his god. So, why not run the angle of, you know, Miro talked to his god and the reason that he lost the TNT title was because his god had bigger plans in store for him. His god knew that he was going to be in this match. He lost the title so that he could be in this match, so that he could get the shot at the bigger championship. That's my personal preference.
I like where you're headed. Another way to elevate the character.
It does. It elevates the character, and then in that way, you don't have Miro worrying about his title, the TNT title. He's moved on from it. He is above that now. That's the way that it needs to be. When you drop a title off of somebody to move them up, that's the way. That's the best way that you could possibly ask for, because he is now considering himself to be above that title, so he's not even worried about it. Then you don't have to worry about Sammy beating him twice to retain the TNT title. But yeah.
I like where you're headed with that. I really do.
So now let me ask you this then. So if you had your way with the match as it is now, and you know the Joker could be whoever you wanted, who do you want to see come away with this win, with this shot at a world title? Who should get this opportunity? I'm gonna read the contestants again, just to be clear. We have Pac, Andrade El Idolo, John Moxley, Lance Archer, Orange Cassidy, Matt Hardy, and the Joker, who can be anybody you want.
I'm gonna have to go with John Moxley
Hmm.
because he's been there. He has the experience, and you know he wants another shot at that title. You know he wants to wear that title. He was over with the fans with that title around his waist.
I think that's a fair thing to do. You know, you're kind of going with the idea of like, hey, you know, we don't necessarily need um a new challenger. We just need we should see more of Moxley versus Omega, because they did have a nice program. They did have some great matches, and you're thinking like, hey, look, why right now when we're on the verge of really achieving success, why try something that's unproven when we have something that we know worked? Moxley did in fact carry the company through COVID. He carried that championship, he carried the company, and he was their flagship guy that busted his butt day in and day out. Why try something new and risk your success at a moment where you're right there when you could go with that proven fact of Jon Moxley?
And another reason is to give the fans the opportunity to root him on. Because let's face it, with
That's
COVID,
true.
they didn't get that chance.
That's true. That is very true. That's a great point. Because he comes through the audience, and nobody really got to be there for his title run. So this would be kind of the thank you to Moxley of like, hey, we acknowledge that you carried us. This is us saying thank you for doing that. We're going to give you another run to really enjoy and really get yourself over and see what you can do with it. I like that idea. At first, I'm going to be honest with you, Pacific. At first, I was like, Moxley, we've already seen that. But the more you said about it, the more I thought about it. That's a good idea. That's a good, and especially with how I said, the main event is very heel heavy. So having a face champion gives you a lot more match opportunities.
Not only that, a face champion that we already know the fans are behind. But again, you want to reward the fans for sticking with the company through the COVID pandemic and give them the chance to look at Moxley holding that title in person.
Yeah, I agree. So our final take on this, we're going to go ahead and go over it. Quidman, I'm standing by Miro. I know that the Joker is traditionally a new debut. I think we've got enough new debuts right now, especially enough new debuts being rocketed into the main event. Cut it. We don't need any more. We got people who are working hard in AEW and they're not getting their TV time. Cut it. Make Miro the Joker. Let Miro win the match because he was a rock star with the TNT title and he will be a rock star in the main event. Have Miro win the title. Or not the title, sorry. Win the match to get a shot at the title. It works from a storyline perspective. And then move from there. On the other hand, Pacific.
We got Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley deserves his chance to have the spotlight on him with crowds back in attendance. With crowds being able to hear his music, coming out to Wild Thing, holding that championship, taking their selfies with him holding that championship.
That is a very fair assessment. Very, 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 very fair assessment indeed. Well,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, this is something I'm saying for the fans because the fans still stuck with your company even through COVID. And you knew that the fans enjoyed Moxley as champion. Well, why don't you reward Jon Moxley for being the flagship guy for your company and reward the fans and give them their champion?
I agree. I think that's a fair take. That's a very fair take. Well, everybody, let us know what you think. Who do you think the Joker's going to be? Who do you think should win? Send us your comments on Twitter. Comment on the posts that you see. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We're all over the place. I'm probably leaving a few out. Send us an email as well, overthebarricadecast@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts. I'll read it. I'll review it. I'll read it on the show. We'll talk about it. We'll hear it. But definitely let us know what you think. What do you think is going to happen? Do you agree with our takes? Do you think I'm full of hot air? Do you think I don't know what I'm talking about? Tell me. I want to know what you think. Believe it or not. Probably to my own detriment, but I want to know.
Are you going to open the barricade?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. And make sure that you don't do what Sting did. Okay. Go over the barricade. Don't open the barricade. Don't go under the barricade. Don't go through the barricade. Don't go around the barricade. Just go over the barricade. Because Sting obviously hasn't heard of the show. and listened to it. He had the perfect opportunity to go over the barricade, and in traditional old man fashion, he just said, "F it, I'm too old for this." And I tell you, the camera did not do him any favors on that one. Woo, that was rough. But yeah,
Again, AEW needs to work on their camera work.
I think the thing is, though, I got to give the cameraman a break on that one because he was expecting him to go over, and you didn't know this thing was going to do that. But again, that's why I say maybe have a tape delay, maybe add another like 10-second tape delay, might work out better.
Yep.
Who knows? But before we end the show, though, I did want to go over a quick thing. So, those of you who listen on the regular, blah, blah, you heard last week. So last week, I was standing here, just minding my own business towards the close of the show, just rocking my TNT championship, just being myself. Well, somebody got a little jealous. Somebody got a little upset. Somebody got a little envious of the gold. And they decided to, first of all, they show up this week with their gold. So we got a title versus title match going on. But more importantly, I received a threat last week that I found very concerning. See, my partner, Pacific 414, informed me that he was going to contemplate turning on me to come after my TNT championship. Let me tell you something, Pacific. I took that to heart. I took that very seriously. See, here's the thing, though. When I receive a threat like that, I don't just sit down and say, well, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I don't know. Maybe I'll be ready. Maybe I won't. No, I say, all right, you want to challenge me? I'm going to prepare myself. So I sought out a mentor. That's right. I sought out a mentor. Not just any mentor. One of the greatest of the greats. When I tell you, I've been hanging out with Arn Anderson this week and taking some advice from him. I am ready for you. I have been talking to Arn Anderson all week. He gave me some great tips and some great tricks. And he even lent me some of his personal property. So you bring it on, my man. You bring it on.
Well, first, son, you're going to have to remove that orange cap if you're going to do anything. Because know this. Yes, we are tag team partners. But as far as this championship goes and your TNT championship goes, they're mine. And they're coming home to me.
I'm going to put your eye out with this. You won't be able to see anything.
Son, that's not a Red Rider.
No, but you're going to be riding in a red damn wagon in the hospital when I'm done with you.
We'll see about that.
Indeed we will.